Te reo ererangi o te mānia. This episode was produced in Otatahi by Plains Media, with support from New Zealand On Air.
Kia ora and welcome. Haere mai. This is Emergence News. Today we are going to spotlight some of Maitreya's key teachings. And Shafia, you're going to be covering that a bit later, aren't you?
Yes, we're going to be looking at honesty of mind, sincerity of spirit and attachment again, which is one of the three major things that he suggests that we really work on.
It's a big challenge, isn't it?
It is a big challenge, and it's also a big challenge at the moment to try and understand truth. And where do we find honesty, because there's so much lies around. So really working that in ourselves, I think that helps us to sort of decipher what's out there.
Indeed. And welcome to the studio, Peter.
Hello there, Nigel. How are you today?
Have you got yourself prepared? I've got some interesting questions to throw in your direction today.
Right. Okay.
We're going to be talking about Maitreya and avatars, cosmic avatars. Sounds like a delicious subject. But first, who is Maitreya? The short answer is he's the next visitor to Earth who will inspire the changes necessary to negotiate updates on our political, economic and social systems. So this program is designed to keep you updated on the reappearance of the Masters of Wisdom, our elder brothers, the spiritual hierarchy. And the head of the spiritual hierarchy, the Christ, is our next world teacher. His personal name is Maitreya, and he works closely with a number of the self-realized masters, including the Master Jesus. So for more information, we recommend reading books by Alice Bailey and Benjamin Creme. Or you could visit the Share International website online, or you could tap into one of our archived podcasts, which the three of us recorded about 7 years ago, Shafia and Peter and I in the studio today. And it was a podcast titled Maitreya, Masters and Avatars. And it's turned out after 7 years to be one of the most popular recordings that we've made over the years.
This is Emergence News on Plains Media, broadcasting on 96.9 FM, streaming live and available as a podcast on plains.org.nz. For more information, go to shareinternational.org.
We've talked about what's coming up on the program. We're going to have a good chat with Peter in just a moment. And later in the program, honesty, sincerity and detachment. Some of the key teachings from Maitreya, which Shafia will cover. Today we're talking avatars. And we have been blessed in recent history by visits by Paramahamsa Yogananda, who back in 1925, he visited America, and he was one of the first teachers of yoga, particularly in the country, particularly in America. And the second incarnation on earth by Sai Baba. And I'm looking at you here, Peter. Benjamin Creme, he used to describe Sai Baba as a cosmic avatar. So Maitreya, he's a planetary avatar.
That's right, of our particular planet, yes.
So can you tell us what a cosmic avatar is?
Well, he's probably like a free-range one, I suppose. He probably goes around and assists on various other systems as well as here on Earth.
So our solar logos needs to employ the services of others that come down, don't they?
That's right. And, of course, it gives opportunities to those avatars to advance their own, status, as it were.
Cosmic Avatar Sai Baba and Maitreya, they both embody the same energy, which is what we call the Christ principle.
Christ energy, yes, it is, yeah.
And that's the energy of love. So Sai Baba has that at a cosmic level.
That's right.
And Maitreya at a planetary level.
Correct. Mm.
So we need, when Sai Baba was with us, we needed that extra impetus. Is that your reading of the situation?
Oh, definitely. I think that we've been in dire straits for some time, and things seem to be right at the bottom now, don't they, Shabir?
They do indeed. I mean, and also we're part of a solar system, so we need an avatar of our solar system to, create the wholeness of that. Whereas Maitreya is mainly
this planet.
This planet, yes. Yeah.
So Sai Baba was a visitor, and of course, avatars, they come from above, don't they?
That's right, yes.
And they descend down to this world. So they're standing in for God, if you like, standing in for the logos of our planet.
That's right, yes.
All right, so
we have so much help out there that we don't realise, that we don't understand.
It would be a sorry state without that help.
I think so, yes.
Yes, I think so. Benjamin Krem, author Benjamin Krem, also states that the line from Babaji Maharaj, down to Yogananda was a line of avatars. So some avatars, they're actually completely unknown, aren't they? Because Babaji, he's very much behind the scenes, isn't he?
Yes, that's right. I mean, he even describes Leonardo da Vinci as an avatar. Mm. And so he came and did some amazing stuff here, and but certainly involved in a dense physical world. He was creating all sorts of things and ideas, and, did a whole lot of... Everyone who knows about him is amazed how many things he was involved in.
He was more than just an artist.
Yes, that's right.
Wasn't he? He was a scientist, he was an inventor. Mm. Yes, he was quite incredible. Mm. So it doesn't surprise me when you tell us that he was actually a visitor.
Yes, that's right.
Very interesting. I just want to touch on Sai Baba. Sai Baba used to materialise things, almost like magic, vibhuti, rings and trinkets and things. Right, yeah. Now, his purpose there, it wasn't actually to provide proof of anything at all. He was actually trying to create interest and increase our awareness of divinity.
Yes, that's right. I mean, it's an ability, obviously, masters have. Once they've moved beyond having to have a physical body, they come back and they take on a body, and that's magic in itself, isn't it?
Yes, and we think it's magical, but it's actually there for all of us. That's what we're aiming for, where we're heading.
And Sai Baba and Maitreya, they have a special relationship. So the enormous impact that Baba had on India and the world was, I think, part of the emergence of Maitreya. Mm.
Yes,
part of the process.
I think so, too.
Increasing our awareness of spirituality, our awareness of divinity in action.
That's right. And I mean, India is sort of a huge population. It's a quarter of the planet's humanity, really. It needs a real good impetus there, I think, doesn't it?
It does. And he was very much involved in education. And I think that's really where, we try and raise the consciousness of humanity through education and through...
Yes, he built hospitals and water purification systems. So, and he was the number one tourist attraction in India for quite some time.
Yes.
The Indian government were quite open about that.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yes.
In India.
Yes.
So he brought a lot of blessings, not just to individuals, but to governments and the country. Because, of course, India it seems to be a spiritually blessed country because the masters reside in the Himalayas, don't they?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And one of those masters is Babaji. Now, Benjamin Krem says Babaji is a cosmic avatar. He dwells in the Himalayas and is a teacher to a group of disciples in the initiations between 4 and 7.
Oh, okay.
So the mind boggles at what level of initiation he is.
Yes, that's right. Yes, because Maitreya himself is a 7th degree initiate.
So Babaji's right up there.
Yes.
Now, I just want to, just before we move on to Shafir, I just want to get your thoughts on one more thing here, Peter. Babaji, he's been on this planet apparently for thousands of years. Mm. He has vowed to remain here till the end of this world cycle, which is going to be hundreds of thousands of years to come. Can you explain what a world cycle is?
Well, we're in the 4th round, really, and the first 2 rounds, humanity wasn't even physical. It was etheric. They were etheric rounds, weren't they? Those first two. Then they had the moon chain, which was an earlier. They were developing the third ray aspect of active intelligence, and so we don't know very much about the moon chain at all. You know, we've had various interpretations, but it led up to our present round that we're on, which has been huge number of years. In fact, humanity supposedly was originally just like almost like animal man, and 18.5 million years ago, he got when the great beings came from Venus. Mankind got individualized, and so he suddenly became aware of himself as a separate entity, and not just with animal consciousness. And so that was brought about by the great being Sanat Kumara, who came from Venus, and that was 18.5 million years ago, and also Lucifer, the bringer of great light. And of course, Lucifer has been demonized ever since, but we are basically light beings ourselves, and we just don't know it yet.
So if we're at the bottom of a cycle, does that mean that we're starting to begin to move upward, and this is this golden age that we're hopefully moving into and towards?
Oh, definitely. I think it's you can see that today we can't go much lower. I think the sort of only way out is up.
Yes, we've gone into the sort of densest form of ourselves, and so now it's the time for the evolutionary forces to help us raise again.
So, you know, when we were talking about yoga earlier, so this is why so many of us humans are exploring yoga, breathing exercises, going to the gym, and trying to purify our bodies, meditation. There are all practices that are moving us towards that first initiation.
That's right.
And beyond.
Yeah. Yes, it's getting control of the physical vehicle is what about the first initiation is about. Yeah.
And I think the final comment I'd like to make about the Masters of Wisdom and these special visitors that we get is they have many messages to pass on to us, but one message that I notice is very consistent is if you want to improve the world, elevate yourself, improve yourself. Look for opportunities to be able to improve how you are as an individual.
That's right, to try and be more godlike.
This is Emergence News and welcome to the program. We are live streaming on Plains Media across Canterbury on 96.9 FM, and we're live on air every fortnight. Every second Monday, we're live on air at 9:30 a.m. on Plains Media. Good way to start the week. All right, Shafir, we're just going to cross to you now, and you're going to talk about 3 of the key teachings of Maitreya.
Yes, so, I know John, our other companion, who's not here with us at the moment, loves to talk about honesty of mind, sincerity of purpose, and detachment as being part of the helpers that will help us to help the world. And I think when we look at honesty, how many of us are really honest? You know, how many of us really say what we think and act on it? And that, I think, is the major part of being honest, is that we actually, our actions match what we think.
Not thinking one thing and then saying or doing something else.
Yes, and how many of us do that? And there are many, many reasons why we do it. And so this sort of like being constantly aware of where we're coming from and what we're saying and how our actions are resulting in that, you know. The benefits of being honest is that we live in our truth. And I think for many of us, people might not always like what you say because, you're challenging some of the things that people believe in, but it actually eases up inside of us, if we're true to ourselves, if we stand in our truth. And it's also a way of giving people permission to stand in their truth.
Now, being true to yourself, that is sincerity of spirit, isn't it?
Yes, it definitely is. It's all very closely related. But it's also, I think, for many of us, sincerity of spirit is really understanding what we truly believe in. So many of us are we don't have our own ideas. We are conflicted by other conditioning. When we grow up, we're taught certain things. So to me, sincerity of spirit is to really understand what we truly believe. And that comes through honesty of mind, and rather than believing in what other people have told us, And we see this happening so much on social media at the moment, where we tend to believe what people tell us rather than actually thinking through what we really think about things. And you see sort of like people like Mahatma Gandhi was very much an example of honesty of mind and sincerity of spirit. He never changed what he thought. He stood very firm in his own truth. He's very well known for the non-violent protests he led, for his hunger strikes when he really wanted to get a point across. And so he really lived his ideals and showed that sincerity of spirit. We can see it in other more modern people today. I mean, I think of Jeremy Corbyn because I'm a great fan of his. When you look back at the videos of him from long ago, always the same message.
He's been recognised. He's won Peace Awards, hasn't he? He's
been recognised for Peace Awards. Yes, he's he's always stood on the front line of any sort of protest that there is. He always talks about feeding people, about caring, compassion, about peace as well. And so he's a long history of it. And then we're seeing people like Zohan Mamdani, now sort of coming out and saying the same things. He's another example of how to be honest of mind, sincere of spirit, and how that actually really attracts people to the message and gives us an example of how we should be,
And the better we get at honesty of mind and sincerity of spirit, the closer we get to being able to employ detachment.
This is true, yes. And detachment, of course, is not reacting, it's responding, being able to step back and say, okay, what is actually needed here? How can we change things? And we see this in people like doctors and nurses, if they go into a really crisis situation and they see, blood everywhere, if you're not detached, you can't make the right decisions. So I'd just like to finish this piece with, we've got a site on Substack called Voices of the Time, which does lots of articles and of this message. And there's one up there recently called "Oh My God," by Gina Blinkenstaff. And I thought it would be good to point people towards that, to maybe go and have a look at it, because she speaks very humorously about this idea of honesty, detachment, and sincerity.
Yes, I love the bit where she says regarding detachment, she says, we have to learn to chill and not get our underwear in a bunch.
That's right.
Over things we want or don't want. Like she does use humour, and it's refreshing, isn't it?
It is, and she calls upon well, if you were God, what would you do? And well, you'd send in the Big Kahuna. So in the Hawaiian language, Kahuna is a teacher or a priest or a saint. And I think what amused me about that is because sometimes we can get really serious about these things, and but the masters don't really mind what they're called, And Maitreya is often, Benjamin Crane often said, Maitreya doesn't mind if he's, acknowledged as Maitreya, call him what you will, because they've always been there behind the scenes helping us.
In fact, I think his preference is to be known as a teacher.
That's right. Yeah, just simply as a teacher. They've been there for years. They don't need the sort of, so we can call them what we like,
I love the reference of the Big Kahuna, because because as you say, in Hawaii,
Yes.
it means a wise man or a healer or perhaps a priest. And in surfing, it's a very large wave.
Yes, and that's what's coming through, isn't it? You know, we've got all these big kahunas, actually. There's lots of them who are helping us, you know. And
from behind the scenes.
From behind the scenes, yes. They're coming in like a wave, as you say, you know. So,
and, of course, the masters, the big kahunas, the masters of wisdom, they're working on our behalf. And Peter has got some interesting information on that next.
Thank you, Nigel. Yes, this one is called The Role of Man, and it's in the latest Share International, which is actually the last printed Share International. The rest are going to be
online.
Online. This is an excerpt from The Role of Man by Benjamin Creme's master. From behind the scenes of life is now emerging a group of knowers, men endowed with all the attributes of God. From them will flow the wisdom of the ages to guide and shepherd man along the way. Under their inspiration, man will retrace his steps and begin anew. Under their wise tutelage will he begin the ascent into divinity, to demonstrate that divinity, potential but unexpressed. Thus will men in time become the knowers, servants alike of the purposes of God. From them then will flow a stream of universal wisdom to nurture all together in the furtherance of the plan. Many today are concerning themselves with these issues and call for change. Men's minds are moving in the right direction, and naught may help this momentum. Nevertheless, vast changes are needed forthwith to maintain the ecological balance in the world. When the earth is viewed as a living entity, complete in all its parts, each essential to the whole, a new vision, a new sanity will prevail. Men will come to see themselves as stewards of a natural order, preordained to function in harmony and beauty, each kingdom related above it and below it, according to the plan. Today, vast sums are spent on research into nature's laws. At the same time, enormous resources are wasted and misused. Were these resources directed to stabilizing the natural balance, a new world would emerge. Man will find himself the possessor of secrets long hidden from him. He would enter areas of knowledge until now closed to his inquiring mind. Nature would yield up her mysteries, and man would begin a partnership with the creating Logos, taking his rightful place as custodians of the plan.